to the United States, they killed the Indians and the blacks that were here and enslaved the blacks and sold them back to Europe. See, the slave trade happened in reverse than what we've been taught. But you gotta understand, why did the whites try to get along with the Indians? It's because they wanted to obtain power. See, but that's evil. If it's, I'm hearing people saying, "Oh, white people are conquerors; they're not evil." Well, if you're willing to eliminate a whole race of people that cause no harm to you, to me, that's evil.
Adaptation, more important than color, which made a great deal of aggression within this group. A lot of it was due to adaptation and evolution within a glacial environment. Adaptation and evolution within a glacial environment, within a glacial environment, within a glacial environment. The first Statue of Liberty, of course, was donated by the French people. But the first Statue of Liberty had nothing to do with liberty in terms of just, the liberty it is and what we have it now. It was specifically that statue was the liberation of the black slave. That's what the French gave us our statue for. And the original statue, the Statue of Liberty, is at the French Cultural Center in New York City. The Americans wouldn't accept it until the girl, the Statue of Liberty, was properly Caucasian and properly white, and liberty was an abstract concept. But the first one was a black woman nude, breaking the shackles of slavery.
Not a YouTuber, just like making videos. And this is a response video to Hollowpoint Deluxe video. White People Are Evil Part 2. I would say that's a great dissertation, brother. So I'm just going to reply to that, add on to that, throw my little 2 cents in since we're on the subject. Now that clip I just showed you there of the Statue of Liberty, you couldn't hear that guy's words. He was talking about how the Statue of Liberty was really meant for black people. It really meant for black people to breaking out the bondage of slavery. But whites, they didn't, the Americans, didn't like that at all. And they wanted the Anglo-Saxon, the whole Lady Liberty type thing. Okay, that was taken from the book Iceman Inheritance. And I encourage all black people and all white people to read this book called Iceman Inheritance, written by Michael Bradley. This book goes into, and it was written by a white guy, and it really goes into the white man, white culture, from the time the Paleolithic man from the caves of Europe to now, and it goes into how the white man's hegemony and sort of how different, the white man, what we call the white man, is from the other races of genotypes of the earth. Like one thing it goes into is sexual dimorphism, and if black people ain't careful, we're going to be headed in that direction. Now, sexual dimorphism is that their culture, men and women, are different. Like for instance, in all other cultures, Africa, China, a long time ago, men and women sort of wore the same kind of clothes. Men and women wore the same colors. They were more, connected. Like the Egyptian man and the Egyptian woman, or ancient Kemet, they wore this similar colors. You can see in the statues, But with white people, the man has to wear blue, the female has to wear pink. But actually, back in the medieval times, it was reversed. Men wore pink because pink represents passion. Women wore blue because blue represents calm like the ocean or whatever. But the book is a very great read. Now I want to go into white people being conquerors. And yeah, they are. Particularly the American Empire doesn't know how to stop. The American Empire is going to lead humanity into World War III. It's like a machine that can't stop. When we go into white people conquerors, white people being evil. Now, I don't think white people are just evil, like comic book character evil. Like they wake up in the morning with a dastardly laugh and be like, what evil things I'm gonna do today? Is that when they want something, they know how to go and get it. You know what I'm saying? Or die trying. When we look at the Nazi Empire, now I'm gonna tell you this right now, and I know a lot of people's not gonna like it. I don't particularly really disdain the Nazi Empire or completely hate Adolf Hitler. It's like Khalid Muhammad said, there's a little bit of Adolf Hitler in all white men. I'm like, if you look at empires and how they conquer, the British Empire is actually worse than the Third Reich and Nazi. It's just that the Third Reich, the Nazi Empire, was such a threat to the British and the Americans. That's why they looked at it so bad. But if you look at what the British have done, the way the British has conquered Africa, tried to conquer Africa, came over, destroyed the Aboriginals in Australia. Tasmanian people completely wiped out. The Aboriginals in Canada almost wiped out. The Native Americans almost wiped out. And Europe as a whole, when you figure the Spanish, Portuguese, what they did to the Amazon people, in South America, pretty much wiped them out. So so it's hypocritical for us to look at the Nazis and look at the Nazis as being these just completely horrible freaks of nature, that all of these other European empires were just generally good and the Nazis were bad. Is the fact that Adolf Hitler admired America. He liked America because the way America paved the way for our science and technology. And how Americans destroyed the Indians, and subjugated black people, And another thing, going into World War II, I'm like, black people we were still oppressed during World War II badly, even though we fought in that war. We fought in Germany and France, and we fought over the Japanese, over in the Philippines, that's where a lot of the wars, the American-Japanese wars took place. And then even after World War II, a lot of the black American soldiers said we did this for our future, for our children, because they thought after this war was going on that they're going to get civil rights. This is a way to prove themselves to the white man. But blacks didn't even get civil rights on the books until 20 years after the war was over. I'm like, that's pretty sad. That means if you went to fought in World War II when you was a 20-year-old man, you'll have to wait until you're 44 years old just to get those civil rights. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, at 44, you kind of, I'm not saying 44 is just old, but you're kind of thinking about retirement and this and that. You're not thinking about starting up new careers. You know what I'm saying? Most people at 44 years old is already working their career and things of that nature. So that's really fucked up. And then when black people went through civil rights or whatever, there was a lot of white people waving Nazi flags, which they don't even show, especially down south. I'm like, we went to war with the Nazis, and now, you know what I'm saying, white people here in America are running around with that Nazi flag, even though their own fathers and grandfathers fought the Nazis. So with white people and conquering, I think white people, these white nations, Germans and Russians, I think they have a mutual respect for one another, even though they be banging it out. It's kind of like a football team or basketball team. They get out there in a field and they really try to hurt each other and humiliate each other, but at the end of the day they shake hands and say good game, you know. So that's what I think, you know. I think, you know, the Europeans have some sort of a code of alliance with one another. That's why white people here in America are running around talking about immigration in Europe. Immigration in Europe, you know, the Europeans and the white nations are going to become extinct. I'm like, if you're an American white boy, why the fuck would you worry about what's going on in Europe? You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're telling me that, yeah, it's more of a white thing, European domination. The American flag has the same colors as the British flag. Even the Confederate flag has the same color as the British flag. The flag in Australia has the same color as the flag of Great Britain. So it's, yeah, when you really think about it, it's really scary. And when the white men did go around conquering, in some aspects there were human laws in the books, like what the white men did to Australia. The Aboriginal people, technically they were committing crimes because the British government really didn't approve of them wiping out the Aboriginal people, because they really wanted to use Australia as a prison camp or whatever. But you know, I guess you could say shit happens. And you also went into something about how white people and black people's cultures are very different, and we may not be able to connect. And that's true. That's true. White people may and black people may get along in small enclaves, you know, relationship-wise, but as an infrastructure and as a culture, yeah, it's gonna clash. White people just they just like to do things. There's just certain things they just like doing. That, I'm like, for instance, take the wintertime. In the wintertime, everything winds down. The animals are all hibernating. Everything is still and calm. You know, it's like everything is frozen in time. But white people, they love the winter. They build snowmen, they go skiing, bobsledding, come up with winter games. You know, they'll have as much fun in the wintertime as people in the summertime, you know. And you know, that's another thing that makes them, you know, different from other cultures. Also, how white people, they, you know, and another reason why we won't get along is genetics. You know, the more the dark-skinned nations grow, the more they'll be genetically annihilated. You know, and the most precious things to white people is their skin color, their lack of melanin, their green and blue eyes, their blonde hair, their red hair, which that's nothing more than a recessive gene. You know, but human beings just, you know, people are dark for a reason, you know. Just about all living creatures have melanin in their skin, and most creatures that are damaged by the sunlight, yeah, they're smart enough to live underground or live in caves or live inside swamps where the sunlight can't get to them. As a whites, they'll stay out there on a damn beach and burn up, you know, maybe to try to prove to themselves that they're normal. But when you have to worry about skin cancer and melanoma just for standing out there in the sun, I'm like, that's some scary shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, so you know what I'm saying? We are kind of like two different people, you know. But white people, they have to safeguard their culture, because the more black man gets power, especially in American leverage, we may do away with traditional European cultures like Christmas, you know, which that's just a ridiculous pagan holiday, and Halloween, and Mother's Days and Father's Days, which I don't believe in those. Those are nothing but Hallmark holidays. So we have to. So white people are aware of this. That's why the population of blacks here in America are around 12%, and it stays that way. That's genetic engineering, you know, staying in effect. So I was saying, good post. You've dropped a lot of knowledge. I just wanted to add on to it. Thanks for watching.